Let's talk about things that you might think are good for you because there are powerful companies or even industries telling you that they are, or because they are sold in health food stores, but they really aren't good for you. And education can be very powerful. Whatever age you are, you can learn new things and you can start changing your buying habits now. So let's talk about 8 healthy foods that aren't. Starting with number 1, soy products. Back in the 1980s, people who made soy isolates, like soy protein isolates and other junk soy foods, started to want to sell more and more parts of the throwaway products. Well, a lot of things have happened in the soy industry. One is that what soy products are sold are highly processed now. So what they told us back in the 1980s is that people in Asia eat soy and they don't get cancer and they're not fat. Therefore, the conclusion is eat more soy. Well, the problem is that correlation does not prove causation. And the fact of the matter is that what the Asian populations were eating is nothing like what they're feeding us in America. Soy is heavily genetically modified. Way more than 90% of it is now genetically modified. And most of the soy products that you're eating are very, very processed. So if you're going to eat soy products, make sure they're whole foods like edamame or a soy milk that's made from organic, non-GMO soy. Number 2 healthy food that isn't is whey protein powder. We're spending about $1 billion a year in America on whey protein. Well, this is problematic because it was a garbage product that was being thrown away when the dairy industry would make yogurt and stuff like that. And they decided to dry the whey, this garbage product, and sell it to the American public. Well, the only good thing that you can say about whey is that it is high in protein. It's also really high in hormones, antibiotics, steroids, and it's also, again, very, very highly processed. There's a lot of evidence that whey protein is not a healthy food for humans. We're the only mammal that drinks the milk of another mammal, and we do so in a lot of ways to our detriment. Which brings me to the next couple of healthy foods that aren't. Number 3, yogurt. Okay, most commercial yogurt is made in such conditions that whatever live cultures there ever were, and usually there's only 1 or 2 strains, and your gut needs many, many live cultures to create this thriving, probiotic-rich environment that leads to a healthy gut. Commercial yogurt might have 1 or 2 live strains, and I don't trust it. I've never seen anybody be able to rehabilitate their gut from eating commercial yogurt that you buy in the store. So I don't buy it, I don't eat it. I think it's very mucus forming. Whey is mucus forming, yogurt is mucus forming. If you're gonna make yogurt, make kefir. Get raw goat milk. If you can't get that, get raw cow milk and ferment it yourself with your own live kefir grains, which are live cultures. I don't trust the stuff that's in the store, and most yogurt has more sugar in it than ice cream. So yogurt is not really a health food. This brings me to another dairy product I want to talk about is people are often telling me, I eat really healthy. I put skim milk on my cereal in the morning. Okay, skim milk is just much, much more processed than a whole unpasteurized milk. If I were going to drink cow milk, which I don't, I would drink it raw and unpasteurized. And that scares a lot of people because we're used to all of our food being cooked and processed to death. But remember that people, used that for many, many years before we started homogenizing and pasteurizing it. Skim milk does take the fat solids out of the milk, but you know what? Those fat solids are pretty good for you. They have a lot of medium chain fatty acids. So skim milk may be low fat, but it's not a health food. Let's talk about number 5, healthy food that isn't. And let's talk about whole wheat bread. Did you know that something could be called whole wheat bread and could have tons of white processed flour in it? The only way your bread is made from all whole grains is if it says 100% whole grain. So the manufacturers of the bread are allowed to call it whole wheat if there's any whole wheat in it at all. Okay, so it could be this much white flour and a pinch of wheat ground up, and they can call it whole wheat bread. So make sure you don't buy anything that isn't 100% whole grain. If you're into eating grains. If you're not, that's fine. Many people are avoiding gluten, and that's a good idea for the vast majority of us, maybe all of us. I'll get to that in a second. Number 6, health food that isn't is diet products. Anything at all that has aspartame in it, I hope you skip it. If you heard one thing I said in this whole video, it's don't eat anything with aspartame in it. That's your sugar-free gum, that's your diet sodas. I read that Pepsi is finally getting rid of aspartame in its product and replacing it with sucralose. So it's replacing it with something horribly horrible and replacing it with something that's just slightly terrible. Okay, so it's not turning Diet Pepsi into a health food by any means, but there's so much data that aspartame is a neurotoxin and that it's harming us. Just because it's a diet product, just because it's low calorie, just because it's low fat does not make it good for us. Almost all those products are really, really processed. So number 7, let's talk about the gluten-free foods. This has become a billion-dollar industry as America is realizing that all the hybridized grains we've been eating, and even worse, the hybridized grains that we then refine and strip out all the bran and all the fiber, that industry of gluten-free is almost all processed food. So if you're going to eat gluten-free, that's great, but just keep in mind that a lot of the gluten-free products are made with grain stripped of its fiber and its vitamins. The germ and the bran is thrown away. So only eat gluten-free products if they're made from whole foods and they're simple. Last of all is number 8, the no-calorie sweeteners. Once again, if it says low fat, that doesn't make it healthy. Most of the low-calorie sweeteners are molecularly altered. So there's a natural herbal sweetener called stevia, and it's just a green leaf that they grow in, not so much in the United States, they grow in other parts of the world, and they refine it and they make it an herbal sweetener. If you're going to use a concentrated sweetener, it's probably one of the very, very best ones. And there are others that are not terrible. But if they are molecularly altered from the plant, if they are chemical or artificial synthetic sweeteners, you want to stay away from those completely. I hate the sugar alcohols. I think they're a terrible replacement for other sweeteners. Erythritol, maltitol, totally stay away from those. They're really going to harm your gut. But like I said, aspartame is probably the worst of the bad in terms of artificial sweeteners. But you also want to stay away from Splenda and you want to stay away from Truvia. They took perfectly valid sweetener plant, which was stevia, and they molecularly changed it so they could patent it. Now they sell it to you as Truvia. Don't buy Truvia, just buy natural stevia. They can't patent it, and so it sells for a lot less money in the store. But these are my suggestions to you. So now you know 8 categories of things that are being sold in health food stores that you should stay away from. Hope this has some value for you. I'm the Green Smoothie Girl. I'll see you next time.